What if I told you that attraction isn't just about looks, charm, or chemistry, but about patterns written in plain sight? Patterns that most men ignore. Patterns that could decide whether your relationship is a sanctuary, or a battlefield. Let's talk about tattoos, attraction, and long-term compatibility. This isn't about judging art or style. This isn't about whether tattoos are bad or good. Tattoos can be beautiful, meaningful, and powerful. But beneath the ink lies something more important than aesthetics, the psychological signals tattoos often represent. A tattoo isn't just an image etched into skin. It is a permanent decision, a decision that carries clues about how a woman thinks, feels, and lives. And if you are considering a relationship with a heavily tattooed woman, you need to ask, what are you potentially signing up for? Because the research is clear, tattoos often correlate with deeper traits. Traits that can make long-term stability far more difficult than it first appears. Let's break down the hidden risks. Risk 1, the specter of impulsivity that doesn't end with the tattoo. The data shows a strong correlation between tattoos and impulsivity. On the surface, impulsivity is intoxicating. She's the woman who says yes to the midnight road trip, who pulls you onto the dance floor when no one else is moving, who whispers, "Let's just do it," with a devilish grin. It feels like electricity, life without a filter. And in the beginning, that energy is magnetic. But here's the hard truth, impulsivity isn't compartmentalized. The same wiring that drives a woman to permanently alter her body in a fleeting moment is the same wiring that governs other life choices. That thrill-seeking doesn't vanish when the tattoo heals. It simply looks for new outlets. Financial recklessness, maxed-out credit cards, treat-yourself sprees, risky investments that jeopardize shared stability. Emotional volatility, explosive fights over small misunderstandings, followed by intoxicating makeups that trap you in a cycle of chaos and passion. Infidelity, when novelty fades, the impulsive brain craves new validation. Long-term commitment feels like a cage, temptation feels like freedom. Relationships, at their core, are about delayed gratification, patience, consistency, and building something bigger than the moment. If her operating system is wired for now over later, you will pay the price. Ask yourself, when I see her ink, am I looking at art, or at a marker of impulsivity that could bleed into every area of our shared life? Risk 2, tattoos and the shadow of past trauma. This is where empathy and realism collide. Clinical psychology reveals a pattern: women with multiple tattoos score higher on histories of depression, anxiety, and self-harm. For many, tattoos are not just decoration, they're coping mechanisms, rituals of reclamation. A phoenix on her back. Rebirth after devastation. A semicolon on her wrist, survival after suicidal thoughts. A quote across her ribs, strength forged in suffering. It's poetic. It's powerful. It's beautiful. But here's the uncomfortable truth: if the wounds behind the ink are unhealed, you are not dating just her, you are dating her pain. And pain is never silent. It moves. It lashes out. It sabotages. It manifests as unpredictable mood swings, warmth one day, cold withdrawal the next. Attachment disorders, pulling you close, then pushing you away out of fear of abandonment. Self-sabotage, subconscious actions that wreck intimacy because she believes she doesn't deserve stability. Her tattoos may map the battles she survived, but if the war still rages inside her, you will be drafted into the front line. Intensity is not intimacy. Passion is not peace. A storm is powerful, but you cannot build a home inside a hurricane. So when you look at her ink, ask, is this art, or is this armor? And if it's armor, is she still fighting? Risk 3, the bottomless pit of validation. Let's be blunt, tattoos are a public statement. They are designed to be seen, noticed, commented on. While some women truly ink themselves for private meaning, research consistently links tattoos to higher levels of attention-seeking and narcissism. This matters because if her self-worth depends on external validation, you will never be enough. Her hunger will keep growing. Social media adoration, thirst trap posts disguised as body positivity. Compliments from strangers outweighing your commitment. Public admiration, playful flirting at bars, reveling in stares, living for the thrill of being wanted. Endless chase, the thrill of being desired by many eclipsing the satisfaction of being loyal to one. At first, you'll feel proud, everyone wants the woman on your arm. But over time, you'll realize you are competing with the entire world for her attention. And when validation seeking collides with impulsivity, betrayal isn't just possible. It's probable. Ask yourself, am I prepared to share my partner with her audience forever? Risk 4, the craving for novelty in love and sex. Research is consistent, tattooed individuals report more sexual partners, greater openness to casual encounters, and higher tolerance for risk. Why? Because tattoos often signal sensation-seeking, a drive for novelty, intensity, and thrill. This comes with two sides. The allure, she's adventurous, passionate, electrifying in bed. The risk, once the initial high of new love fades, boredom creeps in. Monogamy feels like prison. The thrill of the forbidden becomes irresistible. Stable relationships thrive on routine and security. But to the sensation seeker, routine feels like suffocation. The ink is not just a design, it is often a symbol of a psychology wired for risk and novelty, which is the natural enemy of long-term fidelity. Risk 5, higher aggression and conflict orientation. Studies reveal a correlation between tattoos and higher aggression, not necessarily violence, but a stronger inclination toward confrontation, rebellion, and defiance. In love, this plays out as heated arguments, small issues spiral into full-blown wars. Resistance to de-escalation, fighting becomes foreplay, passion becomes chaos. Boundary testing, rules, agreements, and commitments treated as negotiable. At first, this fire feels intoxicating. She's bold, unapologetic, alive. But fire burns. Over time, the constant conflict erodes peace, respect, and love. A relationship should be a sanctuary, not a battlefield. Risk 6, the rebellion against stability. Tattoo culture is rooted in rebellion, in breaking norms, in refusing conformity. That boldness is what makes tattooed women captivating. But rebellion is a double-edged sword. Commitment feels like a trap. Compromise feels like selling out. Routine feels like death. Partnerships, however, demand compromise, patience, and structure. If her identity is built on pushing against limits, you may spend your life trying to settle someone who refuses to be settled. The perfect storm of risks. None of these risks stand alone. They reinforce each other. Impulsivity fuels financial chaos and infidelity. Trauma drives mood swings and sabotage. Validation seeking undermines loyalty. Novelty seeking erodes stability. Aggression destroys peace. Rebellion rejects the very foundation of commitment. This is why divorce rates are higher among tattooed women, not because of the ink itself, but because of the psychological cluster it often signals. Conclusion: seeing the person, not just the pattern. Does this mean every tattooed woman is dangerous? No. There are exceptions, self-aware, healed, stable women whose tattoos are nothing more than art or milestones. But psychology deals in probabilities, not guarantees. And the probabilities are clear: tattoos are markers worth paying attention to. The question is not whether tattoos are good or bad. The question is, what do they reveal about the person wearing them? So before you fall headfirst into the whirlwind, ask yourself: is her spontaneity true joy, or unchecked impulsivity? Is her intensity intimacy, or unhealed trauma? Is her confidence real self-love, or a hunger for validation? Is her rebellion freedom, or an allergy to commitment? Men don't get hurt because women hide who they are. They get hurt because they ignore the signals staring them in the face. Attraction is biological. Compatibility is psychological. Choose wisely. The art of reading beyond the ink. A tattoo is not just a tattoo. It's a story, a choice, a statement. And like all statements, it carries meaning, whether the wearer consciously intends it or not. The greatest mistake men make is to take attraction at face value. They see beauty, curves, mystery, and boldness, but they fail to read the patterns. They silence their instincts in the name of desire. But the ink is there for you to interpret. The body tells you the story long before the mouth does. 1. The language of placement. Tattoos on highly visible areas, neck, chest, hands, face, often signal a rejection of conventional career paths, traditional values, or authority structures. Hidden tattoos, ribs, thighs, back, often signal more private meaning, a memory, or an intimate rebellion. Full sleeves or body coverage can signal identity built on counterculture rather than individuality alone. 2. The language of symbolism. Every tattoo carries an archetype. A rose might represent love and loss, a skull defiance of death, a compass a longing for direction. But many times, the chosen symbols reveal deeper wounds than surface-level explanations. Butterflies and phoenixes often scream rebirth after trauma. Names and dates can be marks of loss, regret, or unresolved grief. Provocative or shocking imagery can be a form of social rebellion or a silent cry for validation. If you learn to read the symbolism, you learn to read her psyche. When desire blinds you. Here's the reality: the risks I outlined earlier do not appear on the first date. They hide in the background, behind laughter, sex, and chemistry. At first, impulsivity feels like adventure. At first, trauma feels like depth. At first, validation-seeking feels like confidence. At first, aggression feels like passion. At first, rebellion feels like freedom. It is only when you settle into daily life that these traits turn from intoxicating to exhausting. The impulsivity that once thrilled you becomes financial chaos you must clean up. The trauma that felt deep becomes mood swings you can't stabilize. The validation-seeking that seemed fun becomes constant competition with strangers online. The aggression that excited you becomes the reason you sleep on the couch. The rebellion that charmed you becomes resistance to every commitment you try to build. This is why so many men feel blindsided. They weren't tricked, they ignored the signals. Practical discernment for men. So, how do you protect yourself without falling into cynicism? You don't avoid tattooed women altogether, you learn to see clearly. Here are guiding principles. 1. Ask about the story behind the ink. Don't just compliment it, listen to the why. The answer will tell you if her tattoos come from art, trauma, rebellion, or validation seeking. 2. Watch for alignment, not excitement. She might thrill you, but does she align with your vision for the future? Adventure is exciting, but stability is priceless. 3. Look for emotional regulation. It doesn't matter how beautiful she is, if she cannot regulate her emotions, every argument will feel like war. 4. Test her relationship with stability. Does she thrive in routine, or does she constantly need novelty to feel alive? Your future depends on that answer. 5. Separate lust from logic. Attraction is natural, but compatibility requires conscious choice. Don't confuse passion with partnership. The higher standard for men. Men who ignore these patterns end up trapped in cycles of chaos. They say, "I thought she would change." But people rarely change unless they want to, and a tattooed skin is often evidence of choices made long before you arrived. The higher standard is this: do not let attraction blind you to reality. If you want passion, there will always be women who provide it. If you want adventure, there will always be women who live it. But if you want stability, family, and long-term partnership, you must choose a woman whose psychology matches those goals. Because here's the truth most men don't hear: It's not her tattoos that will make or break you, it's the mind, impulses, and wounds they often represent. The balance of empathy and wisdom. Let's close with balance. Not every tattooed woman is unstable. Not every tattoo signals danger. Many women carry ink as art, memory, or empowerment. But the patterns are undeniable, and wisdom means learning to see them. The goal is not judgment, it's discernment. The goal is not avoidance, it's awareness. The goal is not fear, it's foresight. So the next time you're captivated by her tattoos, pause. Look deeper. Read beyond the ink. Because attraction is instant. But regret lasts a lifetime.